What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel, man. Once again, another one of these comparisons. Now, this might look familiar, but it's not. I just did the iPhone XS Max versus the Galaxy Note 10 Plus, and now I'm doing the smaller variants of both those phones, the Note 10 and the iPhone XS, so this is going to be a little bit easier in terms of the naming because I always mix up the Note 10 and the Note 10 Plus and the XS and XS Max, and I think in the last video I said a lot of things about the S10 for some reason, but this is super interesting because these are both, I guess, the biggest flagships that both phones manufacturer offer. My English is so messed up, guys, today, but the Note 10 is a newer device, so I'm pretty sure this is the one most people are focused on. The XS has been out for a couple months now, so this one... And that's one thing, dude, literally that's one thing about Samsung phones. There's always so many random noises about it. Even when you turn everything off, there's still like 30,000 things that just like bells and whistles and all those things, like so annoying. Apple doesn't have that. That's one advantage of that. But what I'll definitely tell you is that as soon as I picked both of them up, I was surprised by how premium feeling both phones are. I mean, the iPhone XS doesn't feel like a cheap phone just because it's the newer one. Doesn't mean this one feels any cheaper. It still feels like a very, very premium phone. However, what I will tell you, and I said this in the last one, is that the Note 10 kind of gives off the feeling that it is a little bit thinner, and that mostly has to do with the tapered edges that the Galaxy Note 10 screen does have. Now with the iPhone XS, I do have a skin on the back, so it has a little bit of thickness, but you can kind of tell when the skin starts. It's like, obviously like right here. The Note 10, in my opinion, feels a little bit thinner just because of the tapered edges, but it really isn't that much thinner if you really look at it. They're about almost the same thickness, but the iPhone XS does feel a little bit, actually noticeably smaller than the Note 10. It definitely is the smaller phone between them, but I wasn't expecting this much of a difference, to be honest. Like, I can kind of tell without even looking at them that the Note 10 is the bigger phone. Now, the iPhone XS on the front has a 5.8-inch OLED display. It is 1125 by 2436, so the Note 10 has a 6.3-inch dynamic AMOLED display. And what's interesting is that at first I was like, oh, the iPhone XS actually has a lower resolution display than the Galaxy Note 10, but that's not really the case at all. The Note 10 actually has a lower resolution display than the iPhone XS. We have a 6.3-inch dynamic AMOLED display, which sounds really good, and I think it's a really cool thing. However, it has a 1080p display, which is the same exact kind of resolution display on the Galaxy S10e. So there's a lot of people saying, why didn't they just name this the Note 10e? And I 100% agree with that. I feel like Samsung really dropped the ball because this is not the Note 10. This is not a successor to the Note 9. I believe, in my opinion, that the Note 9 is a better phone than this. So they should have called it the Note 10e, and then the bigger Note 10 Plus should have called it just the regular Note 10. And for them to price this phone at the price that they did, honestly, I don't even think it was worth it in my opinion. However, in terms of the way they look, I would probably say the XS might look a little bit better, but I don't think it's that big of a difference. So maybe like the resolution thing is not that good of an argument. Maybe we're just kind of overstating it or whatever. But I think if you're paying premium prices, you should expect premium parts. And Samsung makes really, really good panels. So I don't know why they did that. I feel like they could have done way better, but I guess that's just me. On the back, we do have, like I said, a skin on here, but we have the blue color for the iPhone, or the black color for the Note 10. I feel like I should have got the other one, but I just wanted to switch it up a little bit. We have a triple camera setup on the Note 10, a dual camera setup on the iPhone XS, and what I will tell you is that I'm going to be doing a full camera comparison between these two in a whole separate video, so I'm not going to do it in this video just because this video is going to end up being like 30 minutes long. So this is just going to be more so the body, software, speed comparison, battery, all that stuff. The next video I'll do between these will be a camera comparison, so just wait down for like a week and I'll end up doing that one. So that pretty much covers up everything on the outside. Like I said, they're pretty much almost feel exactly the same, but the iPhone XS might have the advantage in terms of the screen and everything like that. Now, in terms of software, here's the craziest thing ever. Even though the Note 10 just came out and it's the newer phone, technically speaking, the iPhone XS will outlast the Note 10 in terms of stock software support if Samsung does their support software that they usually do. So about 3 years of software support, or 3 versions of Android. The iPhone XS will definitely outlast the Note 10 without a doubt at all in terms of stock software support. However, like I stated before, I just dropped the Note 10. The Note 10 will eventually have root for it, and it'll have a custom ROMs out for it. So technically speaking, in third-party development, the Note 10 might last you longer, but I will definitely tell you the iPhone XS stock software will be much better, and I really do appreciate that from Apple. They do a really good job at keeping their phone supported and everything longer than most of the competitors. So that pretty much covers up everything in terms of software and hardware. We're going to be talking about the inside, and I'm going to go ahead and do a speed comparison between the two to see which one is faster. I'll go ahead and tell you the specs of both phones though. The iPhone XS has the Apple A12 Bionic chip, a hexa-core CPU, and 4 gigs of RAM on all the variants. There's 3 different variants of it. This one has 4 gigs, and they all have 4 gigs of RAM. The Note 10 Plus has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 chipset, an octa-core CPU, and 8 gigs of RAM. There's only one variant of the Note 10. It's just 8 gigs. It's 256 gig variant. There's not even an SD card slot for this thing, which is so annoying. I don't know why they did that, but I guess it's whatever. It's not the end of the world. So let's go ahead and see which one is faster between these two. So I'm going to go ahead and clear out all the apps from the background on both of these. They shouldn't really be too much. So I have all the apps that I'm going to be testing on both of them. They've already been open on both these devices. So let's go ahead and see which ones are faster. I think I just glitched up both my phones. So let's go ahead and do Snake versus Blocks. 3, 2, 1. The iPhone, actually the Note 10 was faster there, so let's go ahead and see if they glitch up at all. They really shouldn't because this is an extremely basic game. I think the Note 10 actually vibrated a lot, which is really weird. I don't know why. So you can see they both compare pretty much exactly the same. It's a very basic game, nothing too crazy. Let's go ahead and do Paper IO 2. 3, 2, 1. Now this is actually an offline game, so there's not really too much to it, and I don't think it's going to let us play actually. But let's go ahead and see which one is going to be more stuttery. And they both are almost exactly the same. It seems like you guys can kind of tell over the camera which one is actually better. But I think in terms of everything, they're both going to be almost exactly the same in my opinion. So that is a really cool thing. I'm glad that iPhone XS isn't super slow, which it isn't at all. Thank you. 3, 2, 1. Sometimes I don't even need to add my input, I'll be honest. I just have to fill in the time of when the apps are opening. As you can see, the Note 10 actually loaded up faster. Let's go and see which one is faster in terms of gameplay. And I'll definitely tell you they're almost exactly the same. There's really not too much of a difference between them. Bro, my hands be looking like super old. I look like a 70-year-old, bro. I'm only 50 years old. I don't know why my hands look so old. And I actually have no Wi-Fi, so I would have re-downloaded most of these apps that I skipped, but whatever. Temple Run, 3, 2, 1. Now, hopefully this one isn't already in the game because I don't have to restart this whole thing. And I am, so I have to restart this whole entire thing again. So let's do Temple Run again. 3, 2, 1. And I just hit the camera, but I just had to mute all that audio. As you can see, the iPhone or the Note 10 was actually faster. And I got to turn down this volume because Samsung phones just be making all this noise. Let's go ahead and see. And they're going to be almost exactly the same. I don't even know why I'm testing this because it's such a basic game. Let's do BOFA. 3, 2, 1. And again, the Note 10 is faster, even on-off Wi-Fi. So when they're both off Wi-Fi and off internet frequency, the Note 10 is still faster. Let's do Instagram. 3, 2, 1. And they're both, I would say they're almost exactly the same. They both kind of, this one had a pop-up, but I think they're both almost the same. Facebook, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone XS was actually faster there. I feel like Facebook is just optimized better on the iPhones than on Androids because I feel like every single comparison I've ever done, the iPhones were actually able to open Facebook up faster. Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. And I'm so all over the place with this, I'm going to probably forget where I'm at. Let's go ahead and accept it and move on, see which one is faster. And I think the Note 10 might be fast. Now that I said that the XS is going to be faster, I think. Oh, they were almost exactly the same, to be honest. However, one really annoying thing I just realized is that some games, I guess, aren't optimized for the Note 10. That is super annoying to have these many bars like this. That's a pretty thick bar, man. Like I said, I know a thick thing when I see one. And that's a pretty thick bar to be having just on the bottom of a freaking phone. Let's do Twitter. 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone XS is taking forever. I don't know what took that phone so long. The Note 10 was definitely the clear winner. Let's go and end it off with the Real Racing 3, 3, 2, 1. Now, for some reason, this one is on a different icon version, so I'm definitely on like a probably older version on this phone than on this phone, but it shouldn't be that big of a difference, I'll be completely honest. This one, I just did a comparison with it like last week, so the update probably wasn't even that big. But as you can see, the iPhone XS is actually way ahead of the Note 10, I think. Wait, maybe I'm wrong. Nope, the Note 10 is actually slower than the iPhone XS when opening up this specific game. Now, this isn't an end-all be-all. This doesn't mean the Note 10 is so much slower or anything, but it is kind of interesting in my opinion. Now, let's go ahead and load up some RAM. Like I said, the Note 10 technically on paper has more RAM than the iPhone XS, but just like my last comparison, I found that the iPhone XS Max was able to hold its own. And you can tell right now I'm just trying to see if there's one that just restarts or anything, and so far they're doing really well on both of them. I don't have like crazy apps open on either of these. None of these have restarted yet, so that's really good. BOFA, and I don't think any of them are really going to restart. So what I'll definitely tell you is in terms of the speed comparison, I do think the Note 10 might be just a little bit faster on most of the comparisons that I've done, but I don't think it's going to be like a world's different. Like, I think if you have the XS, I think you're going to be perfectly fine. Like, I don't think you should be updating to a Note 10 or getting a Note 10 just for the speed increase or anything like that. So that pretty much covers up the speed and everything. Now, I'm going to hit on the cameras really, really quickly. This is not going to be a full comparison or anything like that. I'm saving that for a different video. but I'll go ahead and quickly brush over them. The iPhone XS has two 12 megapixel sensors right here. However, the Note 10 has three camera sensors. You have two 12 megapixel sensors and a 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor. They both can shoot 4K at up to 60 frames per second, and definitely without a doubt, I've always found Samsung cameras to be really, really great. I love Samsung cameras a lot. Even between these, I mean, even though my main phone that I use every day is an iPhone, I do like Samsung cameras. So once I do that comparison, I'll link it down in the description below. I just don't want to make this video super, super long, but if I had to take an inference and a guess out, maybe the Note 10 is better. I don't know, don't hurt me, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. So I'll definitely be comparing that and the front cameras in my next comparison. So moving on to the battery life. So the iPhone XS actually has a 2,658 mAh battery, which is super low. I don't know why Apple even put that in. They should have put at least like a 3,000 mAh battery. But the Note 10 has a 3,500 mAh battery. And what I'll tell you is that in my opinion, I do think that the Note 10 will have better battery life. This is my first day owning it, so I'll probably have to own it longer to kind of verify it. But between these two, I will probably give the edge to the Note 10. It has not only a bigger battery, but you also have really, really cool features within the Note 10. You have reverse wireless charging. Obviously wireless charging on both of them, but that reverse wireless charging is really cool. You can go and charge like an iPhone XS if you want to on the back of the Note 10 by just doing this, and I think I have it disabled on the settings, but that's a super cool thing that you're not able to do on iPhones or iOS or anything like that. So maybe the next iPhones will have it, but so far the iPhone XS does not have that feature. So to kind of sum up everything, if you were to choose one between these two, which one should you pick up? I'll definitely tell you, if you have an iPhone XS, I would not get a Note 10. I mean, that's kind of obviously obvious. That this is still a very great phone. This is not going anywhere. However, I still think a used iPhone XS or a used iPhone XS Max is a better deal than a brand new Note 10 or Note 10 Plus, because even though you have the S Pen, you have really cool features on this, you're missing the SD card slot, you're missing some things like the headphone jack on both of them, so it makes it less enticing to even switch over to a Note line. The Note 9, in my opinion, was a very, very good phone. The Note 10, in my opinion, I think in some ways it's a downgrade. You're giving up a better screen. Software support isn't as great on Androids usually. And even though you're getting reverse wireless charging, the S Pen, a bigger screen, I don't know. I mean, between these two, I would probably pick up an iPhone XS over a Note 10 in my opinion, in my specific case. However, I think the Note 10 is still a very, very good phone. I don't think it's worth $1,000 or $949, whatever they're asking for. I don't think it's worth that at all. But I think it's a good phone, and I can at least respect people's opinion on purchasing it. So that's pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it'll mean so much if you guys could hit that. Also, check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. All those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate if you guys could check it out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.